Mortal Online 2 is an incredibly immersive, first-person, full-loot PvP MMORPG that released in January of 2022 with a lot of server issues. Many players at the time couldn't log into the game due to massive queues, and those who could experienced a lot of lag, which caused the game to lose a lot of its current and potential player base early on. By the time server fixes and improvements were implemented, a lot of the players who'd originally wanted to play had lost interest or moved on to something else, and that was what happened to me too. Almost a full year has gone by now, and Mortal Online 2 has had a lot of updates since then and improved in many ways. But what are these improvements, and is it worth playing now? I'll start off by saying that a lot of people do still play Mortal Online 2, and there are definitely enough players online to have fun in the game no matter what time you play. The game features one massive server, so even with 1,000 players online, you'll see a lot of them around, especially in and around the bigger towns. The player base has dropped quite a bit from where it was a year ago, but it's stable and still big enough to find yourself running into others almost anywhere you go, whether you're looking for PvE or PvP. Since the game was released, it's had completely new gameplay systems introduced or redesigned, including a bounty hunter system, a beast mastery system, a new weather system, and a lot more. A huge amount of new points of interest have also been added to the world, making it far more interesting and lucrative to explore. These have been designed well for the most part and add a lot of depth to the game, giving you more reasons to head out from wherever you base yourself. New dungeons have been added to the game too, along with new bosses and trinkets that you can now loot. There's a whole new system behind them as well. Buy orders on the trade broker are now in-game, and a new necromancy system was also introduced. I haven't tried it yet, but a lot of players do seem to enjoy it. Aside from all that, there's been a lot of quality of life updates, server optimizations, and polish that's gone on behind the scenes. These types of developments aren't really talked about much, and the game does still have a lot of bugs, but many of them have been fixed, and the game is definitely in a much better state than it was just a year ago. So the game is in a way better state than it was when it first came out, but is it worth playing now? Well, as you'll probably know, it's a very different game to other MMORPGs, and unless you've tried it yourself, you've probably never experienced any type of MMO quite like it. It's all in first person, which is completely different to almost every other MMO out there for a start. This is one of the best things about the game and what makes it so immersive, and if you like MMORPGs, whether you end up liking this game or not, I think you should definitely experience what it's like to play an MMO from a first-person perspective at least once to see what it's like. Mortal Online 2 is still one of the most immersive games out there, and that hasn't changed at all. It's also still a game that doesn't really hold your hand, and aside from the much improved but still basic tutorial that it offers when you first start out, there isn't any sort of quest system in place or anything else like that to guide you. You'll need to ask players how to do certain things in-game using the help chat or by just running up to someone and asking them with your mic. You could also look up guides on Google or here on YouTube, and I have some on my channel that could help you out, but you'll need to figure out a lot of things on your own, including what to do, as this is a true sandbox where anything is possible and you don't need to follow a specific path or complete a quest campaign or anything like that. You're a new player out in the world and other players are doing whatever they want. You can play solo or join up with others, whether that's through joining a guild or not, and you can do whatever you want too. If you want to be a crafter who makes great armor or weapons, you can do that. If you want to be a tamer who tames horses to sell or pets to fight for you, you can do that too. There really are a ton of options for you, and your only goal is to do whatever will help you get closer to achieving whatever it is that you want. Want to be a great tamer? Go out and tame animals, venturing deeper into areas like the jungle if you want to tame more powerful ones. You want to be a great crafter of a specific type of armor or weapon? Go out and gather the materials you need by either mining what you need if you're making metal armor or a metal weapon, or hunting animals that drop the materials you need if you're making something else, like reptile scales or whatever it might be. The choice is up to you. If you want to focus on PvE content, apart from the many types of NPCs in the game that you can kill and dungeons or points of interest that you can visit, there are a ton of professions that are equally important and useful in the game. You can have a real impact and become well known for gathering or crafting and selling a specific type of item or material. You can do that solo or with a couple of friends or with a whole guild that you can join or set up yourself if you want to. There's a huge amount to do in the game even if you purely want to focus only on PvE, and you can even focus on building your own house out in the open world either solo or with a friend, or even a stronghold if you want to start your own guild, big or small. If you want to focus on PvP, you can do that too. You can go around trying to kill anyone you want, but it won't always be easy, and it won't be without consequences. You could be added to a guild's kill on sight list and become well known as a criminal player. Other players will then be able to take out a bounty contract on you and try to hunt you down. There are other penalty systems built into the game that will also deter you from killing players randomly too often, but there are other ways that you can negate these penalties and you're never fully restricted from attacking anyone you want. If you don't want to be a criminal but you do still want to PvP, you can do that too and can pick up bounty hunting missions yourself. You could do them solo or with friends, or you could even join a guild and get into massive guild fights with hundreds of other players. This type of game design lets you play the way you want. You set your own goals, then do whatever's needed to achieve them. None of this has changed, but since the release of Mortal Online 2, a lot has been fixed or added to the game, and so the game itself is better than it ever was. Lag isn't an issue like it was at release, as a lot of work has been carried out to improve the server technology, and there aren't any more queues, so you can actually get into it to play whenever you want. If you're looking for an MMORPG like that, your options are still very limited to this day. Albion Online is probably the closest type of MMORPG that I can think of to Mortal Online 2, but it's an isometric game and nowhere near as immersive. What makes Mortal Online 2 even more appealing is the fact that as good as it already is in many areas, it's continuously being developed and new content is being released for it all the time. A huge new update will be coming to the game over the next few months that will feature an upgrade of the game's engine to Unreal Engine 5. The Unreal Engine 5 update alone will bring about improved graphics, lighting, and optimizations for smoother frame rates, as well as a fix for stutters in the game that happen on occasion while traveling through the world. Along with this, a brand new territory control system, sieging system, thievery system, and elementalism system are on the way. A revamp to the new player experience is also on the way, along with new zone rules which could completely change up how PvP works and could be a game changer for those who really enjoy the PvE aspect of the game and don't want to take part in PvP, but we don't have many details on that yet. On top of all that, the game will be heavily promoted again and fully released on the Epic Games Store too, which will bring in a ton of new players who'd never even heard of the game before. There's a lot of optimism for Mortal Online 2 and its future looks bright. The CEO of the company behind it has a grand vision which is inspiring, and even if some things don't pan out quite as we hope, the fact that the developers are aiming high is great to see. This is a game that will only get better with time, at least as it stands right now, and it's already one of the best underrated MMORPGs out there. Few other MMORPGs offer a true, fully fledged sandbox experience like Mortal Online 2 does, let alone with incredible graphics and a large immersive world in a first-person perspective on one massive server with thousands of players that is being continuously improved and added to. The game isn't perfect and there are still bugs to be found, but it's in a much better state than it ever has been for the most part, and if any of this sounds good to you, I'd recommend giving it a try. Anyway, that's all for this video guys, but I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you in the next one.